welcome everybody to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. This is the Collision review. Collision went off the air just a few short hours ago as AEW presented another action-packed show as we moved ever closer to Allin right here in Wembley Stadium. Well, not right here. I'm not in Wembley Stadium as we speak, but in Wembley Stadium in the UK, of course. And we are literally just 2 short weeks away from the biggest show of AEW's calendar. And the Hitting the Turnbuckle crew will be there, as well as our 50 other thousand fans will be joining us for AEW Presents Allin in a couple of weeks. But before we get there, let's talk about things that happened on Collision this week. Collision started hot, very hot, because Darby Allin, probably one of the most over faces in AEW, teamed with the ever impressive Hologram to defeat the premier athletes Josh Woods and Tony Nese. It was a very energetic opener. The crowd were very behind Darby and Hologram on this. I feel as if the Premier athletes are very effective undercard team. Like they'll always give a good account of themselves. They're doing. I mean, they're probably more. They probably put over a lot more teams than they'll win. And Sterling's shitting on the outside was obviously getting more the desired reaction from the crowd as well. And he was already complaining about his broken arm before we even started off, which was great. But as always with Hologram and Darby Allin, you get a lot of high flying. There's a lot of intensity with Darby because obviously he's going to have against Jack Perry in a few short weeks, and he's firmly concentrated by that. He's got a world heavyweight title shot at Grand Slam as well. Can come up. I think it's September time, that one. But Darby is great in this as well. I liked what AEW have been doing a little bit when they've been doing the little clock that comes up to say it's somebody's coming up soon. I mean, they've done a Swerve Strickland one in this because Swerve Strickland and Collision will take on a mystery opponent. So very, very smart from AEW because sometimes, when it comes to keeping the crowd or keeping the viewer at home enthralled about what's going on, it's good to let them know that something's coming up very, very soon. It was top of the hour, I believe, for the Swerve Strickland match. So it's quite interesting or quite good that they do that just to keep that viewer at home. It's always saying about watching the show and just to have that little snippet coming on. Was very, very good. Darby Allin did take, if anyone was going to take the brunt of the beating on this, it was Darby Allin, quite amazingly. I think they're really pushing Hologram on AEW at the minute. So Darby Allin was the one that did end up having to make the hot tag to Hologram. And eventually, the Chaos Theory into the crucifix pin on Josh Woods got enough for the victory. They seem to see something special in Hologram, does AEW at the minute. I'm very much a favorite of him. I like his work. Darby Allin's always a good hand in there. You can't go wrong with Darby. The crowd absolutely love Darby Allin. But Hologram is getting that reaction. Fans are liking what he does. Yes, he's very lucha. So if you're not a lucha libre fan, you're probably not going to like him too much. But I'm liking him. I'm not a massive Lucha Libre fan. I don't mind it, but I'm not a big full-on Lucha fan. But Hologram is he's getting there with me. I'm liking him a little bit. So very good opener though, solid opener. Premier athletes, very very yeah, great team to go against if you want one of those great fast-paced, great openers that AEW seem to put on. So yeah, very, very good start to Collision. And I really liked the next bit. Dustin Rhodes narrated the video package for the ball rope match, which amazingly was coming next. I thought that was going to be further down the card between Thunder Rosa and Deonna Purrazzo. It was so good. I mean, the video package alone. So, I mean, if you weren't sold on the match, I mean, the feud between these two has been great. It's been an undercard feud as well, or even an underneath feud, you could call it. Uh, and it's actually been better than perhaps even Mercedes and Britt, or I wouldn't say it's been as good as Tony and Mariah. I think that's been really, really good, but I would perhaps go on and say that has actually been a better feud than what we've seen from Britt and Mercedes. over the last few weeks. Deonna and Thunder have gone against each other in a lot of matches. It's been a really good feud. This one you would have thought has been the blow off, and I think this match, because it come up next, was probably the best that those two had put on. They brought the violence in this. I mean, there was a lot of blood from both women in this as well. This match had to end in pinfall or submission, so it was not your. Sometimes Borat matches. I think sometimes you have the four corners with the ball rope. Sometimes when you have to touch the corners, this one was all about pinfall and submission. Thunder Rosa's gear was great. It was like a Texan flag. They were back in Arlington, Texas. That I think Collision does well in Texas. I don't know whether AEW need to think about. I'm not saying just keep it there, but if the crowd's working there, and perhaps in other areas it's not. I know we're obviously coming to Wales in a few weeks as well with Collision. I know they've done. I think they've got 3 or 4 thousand there at the minute. I'm not quite sure what the arena holds, but that'd be a loud crowd for AEW for sure. But there was the violence in this. Like I said, they brung the violence of tug of war with it. There was a cowbell shot from Purrazzo to Rosa that cut Rosa open as we went into picture in picture. There was piles of chairs, there was tables, there was a shot that Thunder Rosa hit Purrazzo with the chair that cut her open. There was a really nice Purrazzo hit the Gotch power driver. Really, really good. I've got a close fall on that one. But the Tijuana Bomb from Thunder Rosa picks up the victory on this. This is one of the feuds that I kind of like wish that we were just getting our teeth into because it's obviously this one was the blow off. I know they had quite a violent match as well before this, and Thunder I think won it. And then Thunder Rosa's won this. It does seem to be the end of the feud, and you do have to wonder what's next for these two because I'm not sure that they're in the title pitch. I know Deonna did have title shot, which she wasn't successful with when she first come in. She was in a position where it was quite difficult because she come in, and then about 3 weeks later, Mercedes Moné or Sasha Banks, what you want to call her, come in, and it kind of felt like she was demoted straight away. Which she had the title shot, she wasn't successful, so that was it, kind of thing, which was a shame because Deonna Purrazzo is a great, great athlete and a great wrestler. Thunder Rosa still working her way back from the serious injury that put her out for so, so long. And it's nice to see her back and in these and even in this type of match because it was a very violent encounter. She done really, really well in it, and it seems to be the back seems to be okay. Well, in a sense that she's not been out anymore with an injury for it. So really happy for these two. They tore the house down with this ball rope match. Really enjoyable. And we'll see what's next between those. We'll see what's next for both of those women. But I'd like to think some championships are in their sights going forward, but we will wait and see. Um, I love the OutRunners video. It was VHS quality, like really old school video. The OutRunners are so good. I remember watching them on NWA. I really liked Turbo and Floyd. They were really, really good. They're quite a character and they're always good. I mean, you always look at them on social media as well. They're always posting and stuff like that. I think Tony Khan really likes these. I really like the Outrunners, Truth and Floyd. So I said Turbo and Floyd, didn't I? It was Truth and Floyd. Um, they had a really good video. They took on FTR this week. And, listen, FTR are the best in the business, without a doubt. The Shatter Machine did beat Magnum. Magnum's one of the names as well. Shatter Machine on Magnum did pick up the victory. It was a hot tag to Dax Harwood actually. On this FTR, it looks like they got the Acclaimed in their sights coming up very, very soon. Could be as soon as All In, I don't know. However, the Acclaimed could be the World Tag Team Champions after this week on Dynamite. They take on the Young Bucks. So it's interesting to see who's playing heel and who's playing face between FTR and the Acclaimed. But the other interesting thing is the Young Bucks in their contracts are currently part-time, so the tag belts are not being defended regularly. So could we see a title change on Dynamite and could the acclaim the tag team championships from the Young Bucks and then perhaps set up a match at All In between FTR and the Acclaimed for the tag team championships. Could be. We may see that. We could see that. I don't think the because although the Young Bucks Acclaim feud has gone on for quite a while, I don't think it's had the importance of build up for them to change the tag team titles that way. I know even in WWE and others, you do get those random title changes that do happen with little to no build. But I think what AEW has done really well recently for about a good solid year is they've built the importance of the title. When they've got a title match where the title titles are changing hands, they built up an importance of it. The Osprey MJF one was a bit different, but that went an hour, so you can kind of give them that. And there's a blow off coming up all in between those two. Well, potentially, I mean, tonight over in here in the UK, MJF takes on Michael Oku for the AEW American Championship. So we might not even be the American champion come all in. But nevertheless, there is importance between title matches. So, and that's what AEW said. So, do I think Acclaimed will win on Wednesday? I don't think so. I still think the Young Bucks will win. They need to defend the titles at All In though, and then it could be a rush story if they did. So, yeah, an interesting one on that. We'll have to find out this week on Dynamite on Wednesday, and we will be reviewing it on Thursday. So, do not fear. We'll let you know what happens on that. Kip Sabian was next on Dynamite, and he was talking about his issues with Nick Wayne at the frame, and bragged about being the youngest champion in AEW history. And Nick Wayne has challenged Sabian to a match this week on Rampage, and funnily enough, promised to make Sabian a loser like his dead father. Oh, Christian's rubbing off on Nick Wayne, isn't he? We'll see Christian in the main event as well. Very, very interesting. Really good promo. Sorry, next on for the MJF. Actually, we were just talking about him. He was mocking Will Ospreay for allowing Carl Fletcher to get beaten to a pulp this week, and he would be wrestling another one of Ospreay's friends, basically Michael Oku. Um, and he would hit. He is vowed to hit Oku with the Tiger Driver 91, the move that Will Ospreay doesn't want to hit anymore, and he vows to break Oku's neck. Wow. But Fletcher did say that if anyone deserves to have their neck broken, they hit the Tiger Driver 91 on his MJF. And I think that's where we're going all in. My belief is that Ospreay will hit the Tiger Driver 91 on MJF and perhaps pick up the victory. Maybe Carl Fletcher cost him. Dave made a good point this week on the Dynamite review that he thinks instead of the United Empire coming together, his belief is that Carl Fletcher and Mark Davis will perhaps turn on Will Ospreay. We know Carl Fletcher's still currently a member of the Don Callis family. Is that going to play into anything at all as we go into All In? We'll have to wait and see. But as I said, Michael Oku, MJF, go and check out Revolution Pro on demand. Sign up. I don't know if it's free for the first month, but sign up and watch that match this afternoon, this evening. It's going to be a belt where they've also got the artist formerly known as Cameron Grimes on the card. Trevor Lee will be competing as well. So don't forget to go and sign up to Revolution Pro and watch that match. It's the All Cool Bethnal Green, iconic venue over in the UK as well. I believe it's as close to sold out, if not is sold out. So make sure you go and watch on demand on Rev Pro to see that today. Next one, Roosh. Now he's been trying to get into the Don Callis family as of late. Don Callis hasn't necessarily been fully impressed with what Roosh has done, and he takes on Preston Vance, who I think used to be one of LFI. I'd have to ask the guru of AEW, Mr. Dave Robinson, on that, but I'm pretty sure it was. And on this one, Roosh was violent. Roosh was really going into Preston Vance. Now, Preston Vance did get a bit of offense in, don't get me wrong, but not a lot. It was an emphatic victory for Roosh. The bull's horns. So that's an interesting word to try and say early in the morning. For the victory on this, Don Callis did actually look quite impressed backstage with Roosh on this, but Roosh was hitting the bull's horns again, and then the referees finally got him away from Preston Vance. So we're seeing a violent side of Roosh. I know Dave is a huge fan of Roosh and wants to see Roosh do a lot of behind, maybe behind the card, be in a storyline, Um, he's very, very talented, and I really like the violent side, trying to prove a point to Don Callis that he's ready for, to be a part of the family. Maybe they could kick Carl Fletcher out and Roosh could become a member instead. I don't know how if that would work or if that, how they could do it, but potentially they could, and then that could enter a feud between him and Carl and him and Will and endless possibilities for Roosh if he becomes a member of the Don Callis family. But seemingly, Callis was very impressed with Roosh this week. We did see the Jack Perry promo that this time without the Taco Bell in the middle of it, just basically about going into all in against Darby Allin. Which should be a great, great match considering Darby threatened to set him on fire a couple of weeks ago. Uh, that kind of tells you where we're going with that match, doesn't it? I'm surprised it hasn't got a stipulation, to be fair. I thought they may have done a sort of gimmicky match. I know we got the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal All In, which could pave the way for a debut. Could it even be Michael Oku? There's an interesting thought that's just coming to my head. Could Michael Oku be a part of the Casino Gauntlet All In and earn himself a title shot? We don't even know that Michael Oku's all elite, but I think it's just a matter of time, a bit like Osprey with him. I think perhaps Oku drops the heavyweight championship to Luke Jacobs in a couple of weeks and sets up Michael Oku to join AEW. Who knows? And he could still turn up at Red Pro anyway. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. The Swerve Strickland Open Challenge was next. Now, I've seen a few issues on this, a few complaints on social media. It was like, well, why didn't Hangman Page answer the challenge? He obviously wants to, you know, get some more revenge on Swerve Strickland, and I can kind of understand where people are coming from on that. However, Tomohiro Ishii answered the challenge. My personal feeling on it, if Hangman was to have answered that challenge, you may have expected. I know this was an eliminator, so it was if you win it, you get a title shot. So maybe I can understand where people were coming from on that because Hangman wants the championship, he wants to beat Swerve Strickland. So kind of understand that even if Hangman did win, it wouldn't have affected the championship match at All In. But partly also, I understand the fact that you still need to book Swerve strong, and he still needs to, go into All In as a strong champion. Having him lose, even against Hangman Page, would, I think, take it down a notch. But this was a Tomohiro Ishii. It was like I would say, G1 style match. That's how I would look at this. And Swerve for me has really elevated himself. I'm not saying he wasn't a top name in AEW, but if you think about it and what he's done and the way the character, you go back to when he went going to Hangman's house and was in his kid's bedroom and all of that sort of stuff he's done to elevate himself to a now he is a household name in AEW and people's one of the first out of people's mouths when they say, when you think of AEW, you think of Swerve Strickland now. And that's what he's done so well. And that's what AEW has done so well. He's taken a talented wrestler who perhaps didn't get the opportunity in the WWE and has elevated him now to one of the top names in AEW. So partly Swerve done that, partly AEW have done that. But it's been great, and Swerve has shown what an absolute star that he is. Of course, he does beat Tomohiro Ishii in this with the house call. Ishii did get some offense in as well on this. It was, as I said, it was a typical G1 style match between these two. Really enjoyable. Love to see more of Swerve. Of course, Ishii's great. I enjoy Ishii's matches as well, which is he's such a hard hitting, real, you talk about strong style as well. Ishii fits that mold so well. So I really enjoyed watching these two go at it. Um, Interesting. We spoke about wows and the dynamite taping that's going to happen on Collision probably as well. Um, and Claudio Castagnoli was out the back, and he has laid down a challenge before the Continental Classic starts. He wants to win the Continental Championship, and he is called out Okada for wows. So we're going to have Castagnoli, Okada for the Continental Championship in wows. Those of you that are going, enjoy that because that is going to be an incredible match between those two. They are two of the absolute best in the business. It is going to be a great, great, great match between Castagnoli and Okada. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen, but that's what they're going to set up, I think, this week. 'Cause this week on Dynamite, Castagnoli and Okada go face to face. My belief is that will be made official this Wednesday on Dynamite, and what a match to go into Cardiff Wows to be watching. Okada, Castagnoli, Continental Championship. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. No Rampage review this week. Apologies. So this bit that's happened on this segment on Collision is a little bit about what happened on Rampage, which was Willow Nightingale um, was having an interview, and Ishii was there, and he was saying they were both basically slating the fact that they didn't like Stokely Hathaway, uh, Statlander's manager, or whatever you want to call it. And Statlander had a town hall. Apparently, the challenge, Lexi Nair said that they had been challenged to a match at 0 hour in All In, so the before or so the pre-show, pretty much of All In. They have been challenged to a match with Nightingale and Ishii versus Statlander and Hathaway. And as Hathaway was laughing it off, Statlander accepted. So that match is official for the 0 hour at All In. Nightingale, Ishii, Statlander, Hathaway. Interesting way with that feud and adding Ishii into it as well. We get to see Ishii at 0 hour. I'm looking forward to that. As I said, just we're talking about Ishii just now with Swerve. I really enjoyed it, their matches. So I'm looking forward to seeing Ishii at Wembley in 2 weeks' time. Um, so Top Flight Action Andretti and Leda Gray were backstage at this point. Lexi Ness had the M&M collection, the former Maximum Male models in WWE, had asked for the interview, but they couldn't be found anywhere. And Gray pointed to them kneeling beneath the camera before they stood up. They apologized for not mocking their haircuts, which was quite interesting. Top Flight challenged them to a match tonight as they were all in gear, but Mansoor had broken and it wasn't cosmetically cleared. That brought in Leo Rush, who had relayed a message to the Maximum Male Models or M&M collection to say that that match is official for next week's Collision. So interesting, Top Flight against M&M collection next week on Collision. Should be a really, really good match. Really quick one. Shida beat Aaliyah James. I think later on in the show, so we'll talk about it now. Shida has called out, I think it's Mercedes Moné for Dynamite for a match for the TBS Championship. Um, so before All In, she wants to win the championship. I think she said it's her last shot to get to All In as champion. So there we go. Shida and Monet. Monet needs matches. I will say that I've not been fully sold on Mercedes Moné since she's gone into AEW. It's been more talk, less action with Mercedes. And as I said before, when she did take on Stephanie Vanquer, she absolutely was taken to school, in my opinion. And she needs more matches. She needs to get rid of that ring washing. She needs to go back. I mean, I thought she was pretty overrated in the WWE, to be quite honest with you. So for her, for me, I don't. It's not that she has to prove that she can go to me, but there is a level in AEW's women's division. And in my opinion, right now, she's not very high on that level with a lot of the wrestlers in the AEW women's division. I think a lot of the time in WWE, she was pulled by, like, Charlotte pulled her into a great match. Bailey pulled her into a great match with a great story. I can't sit there and say to you, apart from Mercedes, Apart from, sorry, Charlotte and Bailey, I can't sit there and say, yeah, Mercedes Moné had a great match in WWE with anyone or remember it for that matter. So her coming into AEW, where the women's division is stacked and it's stacked full of a great, great talent, for me, she's nowhere near. She's nowhere. And Camille with her, with Camille is light years ahead of Mercedes, in my opinion, in terms of talent, in terms of, who should be the champion out of those two. Camille should be champion. She is far, far better than Mercedes. But it looks like Mercedes and Sheeda this week. And that'll be interesting because Sheeda can go. So Mercedes is going to have to step it up, in my opinion, this week on SmackDown. SmackDown? Collision. SmackDown. Jesus, that's coming up later, by the way. On Collision. Um, what a great outtake that would be. If we should do blooper, I think we should do like a bloopers section. I need to go through the videos and every time we made a mistake, put it on there and maybe the end of year bloopers or something like that. It's crazy. Anyway, yes, Sheeda, Monet, Dynamite, I believe, this week. Good old JR done another great sit down. He done one with Swerve. He's done one with Danielson this week. Danielson's pretty much saying that he may need to have neck surgery again before the end of the year. Danielson's he's winding down and he has said he's learned a lot about himself for these like past four challenges for the title. And he said he's the best he's ever been mentally in his 25-year career, and his mental strength will pull him through and will be the difference at Wembley. We'll see. It's either title or he's gone. We know his contract is pretty much up, so will Danielson go and pick up the victory at Wembley? We'll wait and see. But yeah, he needs to be careful. He won't be because Danielson's not the type of guy to do anything half-assed. So yeah, I am concerned for the health of Brian Danielson, not because Swerve's dangerous or reckless in the ring, but Danielson will just there's only one kind of motion for Danielson, and that's full on. If I'm going out, I'll go out breaking my neck instead of taking it a bit easy. So, there we go. We'll wait and see what happens. The Sheeda promo was next, setting up the match with Monet for this Wednesday. There is a big passion about. I would say that it was probably Sheeda's best promo, going back to talking about it, and yeah, she's trying to show some passion. She wants to get to Wembley. She wants to be there. She wants to be there as the only way to do it is champion. So there we go. Wednesday, we'll see what happens. Main event time. World Trios titles, number one contenders match. Winner takes on the Patriarchy at Allin, I think. And it had a special guest referee, which was Christian Cage, who wore a turtleneck referee. There is comparisons, and I think I've seen it on social media where people are slating it because of Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. Christian was always going to wear the turtleneck referee. But anyway, House of Black versus the Bang Bang Gang. Solid main event. The good thing I liked about it is that it was a really good main event, and we was expecting um, referee shenanigans. But what I liked about it is they were waited until the end of the match, and I do expect that we'll tell you in a minute what happens in a second. The match was really, really good. There was a what you can expect for the House of Black and the Bang Bang Gang. Incredible competitors in there. Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, Juice Robinson. It's so good to see Juice back. Juice is definitely the unsung hero of the Bang Bang Gang. Buddy Matthews, great to see him back from injury. Brody King, like you know what you were going to get in with this as well. It was a great, really good match. Christian Cage had called the match down the middle, and then it broke out into a brawl. And at this point, all the competitors were down in the ring, and he was starting a 10 count. Christian was starting a 10 count. Buddy Matthews was literally getting to his feet at 9. Christian Cage speared him, counted to 10, and threw the match out. Kill switch, and then Nick Wayne hit the ring with chairs to lay out the 6 competitors in the ring. And that's how Collision finished. I suspect this will turn into a three-way trios match for the championships at All In. But it was a great way. I do like the fact that Christian Cage called it down the middle. You was wait because they built to what you was expecting. Sometimes when you know what's going to happen, you know Christian Cage is going to get involved, you know he's going to do something, and you're waiting, and it's a suspense, and it's getting there, and you're expecting it. The time is right now, and you're thinking, when's it going to happen? Bang, there it was. A really good way to do it. The main event itself, six great competitors that I enjoy watching so much in AEW, and it sets up a potential triple threat trios match All In, which I'm really looking forward to. Good show this week, Collision. Really enjoyed it. It's good, some good storyline enhancements, some good feud. Obviously, there's a couple of feud enders in there as well. Really building nicely towards All In. It doesn't feel like a rush build to All In this time. Remember, last year I think we still only had one match announced as we got 2 weeks before the show. So really good cards taking shape, nice, really solid wrestling on this show. Enjoyable. And yeah, kudos to AEW. Really good episode of Collision this week. Coming up also for us this week, yep, SmackDown review will be done, will be out later as well. Blacksmith Apparel interview dropping this week. We also have just announced an interview with one half of Pretty Empowered of NWA, Miss not Kenzie, Kylie Page will be joining us. Sit down to talk NWA 76 and Crossfire Wrestling. Keep a lookout for that dropping in the coming weeks as well. Keep a lookout for Mike Mondo's interview dropping on top of Speedball Mike Bailey ahead